Hello, fellow moms. My name is Liz Irwin. I am part of the Belong Disability Ministry team. I work in the Resource Center. Hopefully I've gotten to talk to some of you and others. Maybe I'm a new face. But I'm really honored to be here today with you, and hopefully we can have just a really meaningful time. I'm also a mom of two kiddos. I have a 4-year-old and a 15-month-old, and as I'm sure all of you know, they keep me busy and on my toes. And so when I was asked to do this, the passage for today actually really spoke to me. I don't know if you've all read it yet or not, but for July 9th, it starts off with a passage from Isaiah, and I'll just read that, and then I'll read the rest of the passage, and then we can kind of get into it together. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. Isaiah 48:10. Doesn't God's word come to us like a soft rain shower, dispelling the fury of flames? Isn't it like fireproof armor against which heat is powerless? Then let afflictions come, for God has chosen me. Poverty, you may walk through my door, but God is already in my house. He has chosen me. Sickness, you may intrude into my life, but I have the cure standing ready. God has chosen me. Whatever occurs in the valley of tears, I know He has chosen me. Dear Christian, do not be afraid, for Jesus is with you. Through all the fiery trials, His presence is both comfort and safety. He will never forsake those He has chosen for His own. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. It's His unfailing word of promise to His chosen ones who are experiencing the furnace of affliction. And so in reading that, and also the poem that comes after, I was really reminded of something I read like months before the pandemic started. It's the writings of a Vietnamese Catholic priest, actually, who was imprisoned when the Communist Party took over South Vietnam. I actually have trouble pronouncing his name, so I'm going to omit it for right now. But one of the things that he writes about in his reflections during his imprisonment, and it was over 13 years, and some of it was for years in solitary confinement, and he had been very active as an archbishop, actually, in his community, and was doing so many works for Christ. And so one of the things he really had to reflect on was to choose God and not just God's works. And I really feel like that resounded with me, in that God has chosen us for Himself, irregardless of whatever we're able to accomplish in a day. He has chosen us for Himself, and that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what we have done for Him, but if we have chosen to love Him above all else, that is the most important task that we can do. And I don't know about you, but I find that really helpful to hear, because as a mom in this pandemic, and trying to work from home and things like that, I find that sometimes things just kind of stack up and it gets overwhelming, and we're not able to work out in the community as a lot of us used to. Some people are going back to work, but a lot of people who are able to volunteer or just do good works for Christ, that's limited now. And I find, especially as a mom, my focus is really at home and on my kids and my house and just kind of what I'm in 24/7. And there's not a lot of brain space for a whole lot else. And I think it's really amazing in this passage today that God makes it very clear that no matter what's going on around us, He has chosen us for Himself, and all our response needs to be is yes, and here I am, and that we don't have to be going outside of our homes and everything to do these great works for God, but we can really be loving Him in where we are and in the moment, that we are currently called to. So in closing, I will share the poem that is in Streams, and then give a short prayer. All right, so here the poem starts. Pain's furnace heat within me quivers. God's breath upon the flames does blow, and all my heart in anguish shivers and trembles at the fiery glow. And yet I whisper, as God will, and in the hottest fire hold still. He comes and lays my heart all heated on the hard anvil minded so, in his own fair shape to beat it with his great hammer, blow on blow. And yet I whisper, as God will, and at his heaviest blows hold still. He takes my softened heart and beats it, the sparks fly off at every blow. He turns it o'er and heats it, and lets it cool and makes it glow. And yet I whisper, as God will, and in his mighty hand hold still. Why should I complain for the sorrow than I know than only longer lived would be? The end may come and will tomorrow, and when God has done his work in me, so I say trusting as God will, and trusting to the end, hold still. I think that holding still and just allowing God to work in us within the stillness can sometimes be one of the biggest challenges of the Christian life. And so we'll close in prayer. And my prayer for all of us today is that we would be able to hold still and hear God's presence in the still. And so John Paul II says, know how to hear again in the silence of prayer the response of Jesus, come and see. And so, my friends, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Lord, grant that in the times where so many of us are feeling limited to do your work, that in the silence of our prayer, we would accept your invitation to come and see, and to be still with you, Lord. We ask all these things in the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.